Hey guys, and welcome back. That was awful. Good afternoon, folks, and welcome back to the Professional Amateur. Today's request comes from Trent in Alabama. He wanted to know how to make some ribs, so that's what we're going to do today, a little something different. So what I have here today are 2 racks of St. Louis cut pork spare ribs. So we're going to go ahead and get into the prep work of these. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this membrane off of the back of the ribs. This membrane doesn't render down. It's not a very appetizing piece of the rib. So I'm just gonna get me a starting point there. Grab it with a paper towel and pull it off. Now, any other channel that you watch, they're gonna probably do the same thing. If not, you don't need to be watching the channel. No, I'm kidding. Everybody does it a little different. But this membrane, it's kind of like paper. It doesn't cook down, it doesn't soften up. It's not like the membrane on beef ribs. It doesn't get soft at all. So we're just gonna throw that away and do the same thing on the other one. I try to do it here on the corner because if you do it on this rib, you get what's called a shiner. It's a rib that doesn't have any covering on the back, and sometimes those will pull out. All right, so we missed a little bit right here. All right, so that's that. So to get a rub to stick on pork, you need to use a binder. Some folks don't, but if you want that good bark, that good crunchy bark on the outside of your pork ribs when they're done, you want as much rub as possible to stick to your ribs. I'm just cutting this off right here because I know it's gonna burn in the cooking process. Isn't gonna be very appetizing. So for my binder, I use mustard on pork. On beef, I use olive oil. So we're gonna start getting the mustard on here. Just a little bit on each side. And, you know, a lot of folks that I tell this say that they don't like mustard. Well, good, neither do I. You can't taste the stuff once this is cooked. I've had ribs with and without a mustard binder. You can't tell the difference because between the smoke and the seasonings and everything, it hides that mustard. All right, that's good on that side. Same thing on the back. All right, so now we've got something for that rub to stick to. And I use store-bought rub. It's easier for me. There are a lot of store-bought rubs out there, and at first I just decided I wanted to try all of them just to see which one was the best and then try to copy it. But I mean, why do that when you could just go out and buy it? All right, so just a liberal coat on the back and the front. Today I'm using the Heath Riles Pecan Rub. I picked this up at Kroger's, I believe. So You want to get the back good. You want to get the sides, and you definitely want to get the top, because on the top is, you know, that's going to be the exposed surface through the main part of the cook, the part that you're going to be spritzing just to keep it a little bit moist. We'll go over that a little bit in a minute. This rub doesn't have a heavy amount of salt in it, so you can go as heavy as you want to. Ribs are one of those things that don't take a lot of salt because they're thin. I mean, it's not just a whole lot of meat on them, like on a butt, shoulder butt, or a picnic, or, you know, brisket, something like that can take a lot of seasoning. On the ribs, spares and baby backs, you just need to be careful with the seasoning. Not a humongous heavy coat if it's a heavy salt rub. All right, so we're gonna let that dry brine for a minute, let the smoker come up to temp, and I'll see you guys at the grill. Okay, so the pellet grill is up to temp. We're gonna go ahead and put our ribs on. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, there are 3 ways that people cook ribs, or 3 constants that people look at. I'm sorry, 3 variables that people look at. Time, temperature, and tenderness. A lot of people say 3, 2, 1 is, 3 hours unwrapped, 2 hours wrapped, 1 hour to finish off, or something like that. I don't go by that. I usually just go by temperature, and tenderness is a good way to double check yourself. So what I do is I cook these to an internal temperature of 165 degrees, which is the temperature that pork is, no longer dangerous. Pork is done. Then at 165 degrees Fahrenheit, I'll go ahead and wrap them up and let them cook, and then let them reach 199 to 200, and then after that I'll go ahead and glaze them, and then another 15 minutes to let the glaze set. It usually takes me somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 hours and 20 minutes to 5.5 hours to get these ribs cooked. So it's up to temp. I'm cooking at 220 degrees, and we'll see you guys again in about an hour to check the spark. So we're a couple of hours into the cook. I've already spritzed it once. We're going to spritz it again. And you can see that bark is set on there. It's not coming off with my fingers. So we're just keeping it moist. Don't want it to dry out too much. And this spritz is a half and half mix of apple cider vinegar and apple juice. You can use whatever mixture you want to. You can use straight water, but this is just my mixture. And I didn't talk about the wood that I was doing it on. I'm doing it on apple wood today. I've done it on hickory, I've done it on pecan, and there's no wrong answer there. So the temperature probe's in there. We said earlier that we're looking for 165 degrees, and right now you can see that we're 142 and 136. So here in just a little while we'll go ahead and once these hit 165, we'll get them wrapped up. We'll see you then. So as you can see, we are almost ready to wrap them. We're sitting at just a little over 160 degrees on both racks. So when we get ready to wrap them, I like to add a little sweetness to it. A little bit of brown sugar, a little bit of honey, and I like to take some of the same rub that I seasoned it with and put on there. So we'll see in just a minute. Once these ribs get up to done temperature, get up to around 199, 200, inside the foil, we're gonna take and pour off the liquid that's inside the foil, and that's what we're gonna make our glaze with. So I like getting these ready just so the ribs don't lose a lot of temperature. And that way I can just take my little pieces of foil out to the grill, take them directly off the grill, put them on here, get them wrapped up and get them back on there. That way the temperature doesn't drop. bit of honey, a little bit of rub. All right, well, as soon as they hit 165, I will see you guys at the grill. All right, so the ribs are at 165. We're gonna go ahead and get them wrapped up, meat side down, in our little honey brown sugar rub concoction here. You can see by the flecks on them that they are nowhere near tender. So we'll steam them in this foil for a little while. And it's not going to take long to get them up to around 200. And have them falling off the bone. So we want to get the probes back in them. Find a spot where there's not a bone. So at 200 degrees, we're going to go ahead and take these off, and the liquid that builds up inside the foil, we're going to make our glaze out of it, and then we'll glaze them up, put them on here for about 15-20 minutes, let the glaze set, and we'll be ready to eat. All right, so we are at 200 degrees. We are finished with these temperature probes, and we're going to pour the liquid off that's accumulated inside this foil and make a nice glaze. All right, so as you can see for our glaze, we got a nice amount of juice in there. Some people like to add butter for richness, but as you can see, you really don't need the butter in there for some more juice. So we're just gonna put a little bit of brown sugar in it. And for those of you that really care about measuring, that was about 2 teaspoons, maybe a tablespoon. Gonna put a little bit more of the rub in there. But not much, because it's got a lot of the rub in it. You can tell by the color that red paprika has really taken over in there. All right, and I almost forgot, add a little bit of honey to sweeten this up. Now these are Memphis style ribs, if you haven't figured that out already. It's a sweet glazed rib. All right, we got this all mixed up. Give it a little taste. Oh yeah, that's gonna be great. Oh, it's got some spice to it too. That's nice. All right, so let's go back out to the grill and get these things glazed. Okay, so you can just use regular barbecue sauce for this glaze if you wanted to. I like to use what came off of the ribs because it's got that smokiness to it. And if you want to go half and half with barbecue sauce, that's fine too. Just play with it. There's really no wrong way. I mean, just try it out. See what works. See what tastes good. This is definitely more of an art than a science. And if you like your ribs a certain way, make them that way. All right, so let's check that glaze, and it is nice and sticky. These guys are done. All right, now for the part that we have all been waiting for. Let's give these things a shot. All right, so you can see we got some good smoke penetration there. You looking at me or the rib?
Both.
All right, let's give it a shot. Man, too bad y'all can't taste this.
It's the pod.
You can have a piece when you're through video.
No, it's mine now.
It's really hot.
I don't care.
Okay, so let's go over what we did. We took 2 racks of St. Louis cut spare ribs. We removed the membrane from the back. We used mustard as a binder, covered it with a really nice coat of rub, and I used the Heath Riles pecan rub. We heated up the smoker to 220 degrees. We cooked the ribs until they were at 165, which took about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Then we wrapped them with honey and brown sugar and a little bit more of the rub. We let them go for about another hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, until they were up to 198, 199 degrees. We unwrapped them. We made our little glaze with the drippings from the ribs and some honey and brown sugar. And now we're gonna enjoy these ribs. We put them on for about another 15 minutes to get this glaze nice and sticky. And there we have some nice St. Louis ribs. Guys, I wanna thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like what you see, please hit the thumbs up button. If you feel that the content on this channel may be of interest to you, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified of any new videos that come out. Thanks for stopping by, guys. And if somebody says that you're doing it wrong, tell them it's okay. I'm a professional amateur.